Chad Elkins presents the Elkins Accounting Hour with your host, Chad Elkins.
All right. Mr. Clary, how's your Wednesday been?
I want to go back to 1910 where you have that fun piano music and everyone's having a good time. They got big mustaches and people are drinking and then they announce the person. They're all excited, and there's like maybe 50 people in the room. I want those times again.
Yeah, I'd settle for that, man. Because you know why I would go back to 1910, Claire?
Because there'd be less lems to handle in a pro sense.
But in the greater scope of things, there was also no such thing as the Internal Revenue Service or the Federal Reserve.
Or the Federal Reserve, correct.
What year did those come about?
1913.
Same year the Titanic sank.
There were a lot thinner women back then, too. Everything was better in 1910.
Yeah, I mean, you might even say not everybody could vote. Well, no, I won't go there.
Whoa!
I didn't say that.
Hey,
so this is just the same beer as I had last week, the Lager for the Lakes. It's only 4.8% because I want to make this relatively quick, and I have to go back to work after this. But cheers. So you're having a good day?
Yeah, I am. I went hiking. How am I coming in all right? Because you're all grainy now all of a sudden.
Oh, the internet's doing something. Keep.
It's you? Okay.
Keep talking.
All right. Well then, I finished my book yesterday. It's not published. It's off to editing, but now all the writing is done, and so I'm kind of with that. So the hard part is done, and obviously I'm in a better mood when you eliminate 8 to 10 hours of work a day. And so I went for a hike. It's a beautiful day in Vegas. And now it's kind of like being on summer vacation where I get to go and maybe watch a movie or something. But I have to pay taxes and I have to do taxes. So that's the next main project. So I get everything's back to normal now. And I'm very, very happy.
Just going to say, I hadn't heard from you. I was like, oh, normally Clary's sending me his stuff. However, you've been busy writing, and I don't think all your tax documents are in yet. All your 1099s, or maybe they are.
They might be. I'd have to check. I really, once I write a book, man, everything else goes on the back burner, and I don't, I'll do asshole consulting and do my obligations to other people. But if taxes are completely separate wax, and I'll get to that next. But I'm sure by now, it's at the end of January. I should have it. The papers should be there. Usually I'm filing by
Friday. Yeah. I mean, they're required to get it to you by this Friday. So, by the way, chat, if you guys can think of any of those super chat goals, just let me know. I couldn't really think of one this week, but they're fun.
I think
let me pull it up.
If you got to do one of them, well, where's the camera? God, I can't do it. I got the wrong. I think you got to do like a thumb muppet. Like you got to paint a little face on your thumb.
Yeah.
A smiley face. And you got to do, I don't know, a promotion or something for the Elkins Accounting Hour with Thummy.
All right. Why not? We'll have a little fun here. I am going to set that. I'll say 10 super chats, $5 or more. We'll do it for I'm hoping this isn't too long of one, but I'll say I'll do a thumb show. I don't know.
Let me see. Guys, let Chad know in the chat room if he's robotic or if I'm.
It's me. This is on my end. Yeah.
Okay.
This has been a problem all day. I am so ready to get out of here, man. The next time we do one of these, I'll be in my Southern Command. So I don't have to deal with this shit anymore.
Why are you in the Northern Command at all?
A lot of reasons. Doctor's appointments that my insurance would only cover up here. Like I had to get a follow-up for, my surgery. I hadn't been here in 2.5 months. So, I wanted to make sure there were no squatters here. Had to get my mail. I wanted to see friends, including people So it was good to be back, but I'm ready to leave now. I'm very much ready to get out.
You're saying you're having some problems?
Handling them, some huge problems handling them. And, I've gotten so used to the candidates like good cooking. So suddenly when I'm Mr. Bachelor up here, I'm just kind of like womp womp, Fruit Loops again,
Wait, really? You eat
No,
Fruit
no, no, no,
Loops?
no,
Oh,
no. I was
God. I was
kidding.
about to say, you can walk. You got a good restaurant right across the street from you, for God's sake.
Yeah,
right?
there's plenty of good stuff here. I've mostly been going to the grocery store across the street and getting some prepared foods. So I'm doing all right.
I get a kick when the woman in my life. Let me explain. I want. Does the candidate tune in?
Yeah, I think every now and
Okay.
then, yeah.
Not only my GF, your candidate, but all women, please listen to us. We survive just fine without you. We know to feed ourselves. We know to wipe after we take a shit. And then my girlfriend would be like, "Are you gonna? I left you some food in the fridge." I was like, "Yeah, I'll be fine. I've fed myself this entire time. Haven't starved once yet." And just to let you know, but the food is superior. The food is great, but they think that if they leave or you leave, we're gonna die because we don't know how to put food in our mouths. Like, somehow we forgot that skill. So I'll let you girls know we will be just fine. We'll just have slightly worse food. That's all.
Was catching up with Mrs. Elkins, briefly very recently. And, she was just like, "Oh, how's the candidate?" I'm like, "Oh, she's doing okay. I'll be going back down there next week." She's like, "You know what, Chad? I really like her. You know why?" And I'm like, "Oh, this will be good. Because she takes care of you." And I'm like, "Takes care of me? What? I can't take care of myself."
They think we'll be cowered in a ball with an adult diaper filled to the brim if they're gone from. They really,
yeah. So that, I guess I'm glad my mother likes her because she didn't like some of the others, including one you didn't like either.
Well, nobody maybe one person that liked Cuddlewookums.
Her therapist, because she probably put her kids through college having, cuddle
Okay, all right, the therapist. All right. Name one person who isn't mentally ill that liked Cuddlewookums.
Honestly, even her friends after our split, even her friends were basically, when I would run into them, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, she was crazy. You were right to get out of there." These are her friends.
Yeah.
So, all right. I have a couple of updates since our show from last week with Red Hawk, and this is very good. There was just this absolutely phenomenal comment that somebody left just yesterday. It's nobody who I recognize, but it's somebody who just started H&R Block a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And he put this long comment, like outlining all of his experiences so far, including some really good inside information there. His name is Geo, and then the YouTube name is The Fire Elevator. But basically, go back to the stream that we did last week and look for that comment. It is gold. Like, I was going to read it, but I was like, no, you guys can just go back and look at that.
Why wouldn't you read it now? That's not what we're talking about?
Because it's so long. Like, he left.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe that's a separate. I mean, if it's that good, sometimes you should make an entire video of it. I've occasionally done that before with comments.
It may happen. I'll see what kind of feedback I
get.
Soon? Oh. And then I have a not so great update. I won't say who this is from, but this is from somebody who worked at H&R Block last year, who we're familiar with, but now he decided to go off on his own. He sent me this email. He goes, "Chad, love your stream the other day. Just heard from a colleague who recently started his own tax practice that he received a cease and desist letter from H&R Block because he used to work for them. You may want to mention this on your stream." So I was like, whoa, that's terrible. And so I wrote back. I was like, "Well, tell me more about this. This is a big deal because I need to make sure people know." And he wrote back and said, he goes, "I think what happened to him was operating within a certain distance of your previous office, your H&R Block office. It's in the contract that you sign with them."
All right.
So, and then I got a little more info. This person said he personally believes that his previous district manager at H&R Block had a grudge against him.
Really?
And so that's why this is happening. You might be asking yourself, well, how did they know? Let me tell you how they knew. And this is really, really important, you guys. It's critical. I did not know this. See, he had been advertising on a website with pictures of himself along with his actual name and address, which was right by, his former H&R Block. So,
Okay.
Clary, what do you need to do instead if you're going to go this route?
Well, I'm confused. I want to make sure we get it right because we generally like H&R Block or the Jackson Hewitts for people to go and become enrolled agents. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's several things wrong. One, did he violate the terms of policy? Like,
I don't know, but they did say contract. Apparently, when it's probably in fine print, when you sign up at H&R, so he might have technically done it.
Okay,
in that
so we
regard,
need to know. We need to know. Well, one, didn't the Federal Trade Commission ban non-compete agreements?
That's why I was confused because I heard the same thing last year. I thought you can't do that.
Well, maybe not. I don't know, but it could. Last I recall, it was hung up in a court, so it may still be in effect until it goes through court. But neither here nor there. I wonder. Hang on, let's look that up. Do we know how far around a H&R Block office you can't work?
No, like I even wrote back with follow-ups, kind of the same questions you're asking, but I didn't hear back from him. But I want to know what the situation is here. So, yeah.
The argument aside, whether that's legal or not, let's just say it isn't, because the guy did get a cease and desist order. So yeah, we need Red Hawk to read through. We need Red Hawk to come in here and look through the documents he signed, because if it is like 20 or 30 miles, that would then select like where do you right. And then if you selected to work at H&R Block near where you live, and now you got whatever, a year-long hiatus that you can't, then you got to set up an account, like go get a UPS box elsewhere, put your LLC there.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then, so that's kind of a drawback. I'm glad this guy caught that. But otherwise, I think the Federal Trade Commission, I don't think this is going to be legal for much longer where they say you can't compete.
So if, let's say, I want for your perspective, like from a not sort of a moralist, but would this sit right with you? Like, say somebody works at H&R Block, right? And then somebody comes in and they do their return at H&R Block. And then that person says, by the way, I'm leaving, but next year you can work with me. And then he gives out his info. Do you think that's like
unethical? No, you're on H&R Block's time. Yeah, you go work for H&R Block.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, then you go promote your own. I mean, you can promote your own stuff, but not at H&R Block's office on their time. No.
Right. So I think maybe that's what they're trying to prevent with this. But I was surprised about the whole geographic location thing. But to follow up on something you said, what you would do, assuming they can actually do this, what you would do is you form an LLC that doesn't have your name in it, kind of like yours, Clary. They don't have your name in it. Mine does, but whatever.
Right.
So you do that. You get a PO box address or someplace else that's not going to be tied, to your actual address. And then, for God's sakes, don't put your face all over the internet, on a website if you are, kind of walking the line with H&R Block. So that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, no, here I found some on the internet. For most, it's just seasonal. There are a few year-round jobs, but you need to be an enrolled agent to get one. Block requires all employees to sign a non-compete so you cannot start your own private tax business. To start, you must first attend an 8-week tax school. Well, how long? See, it just, even if you have an MBA, this barely gets you in the doors. It says so how long is that in effect?
I would, that's a great question. They don't say like for a year or something.
Let me try something else. Why are you in a rush to get somewhere?
No.
Non-compete. I'm just going to type H&R Block non-compete.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me know what you find.
I work H&R Block and have a non-compete. Last year I was removed from doing virtual clients because score. This year I qualified virtual pro tax and have a non-compete clause. Last year I was removed from doing virtual. Okay, that's not it. Here we go. Offer. Like to work towards a CPA. Let's see the answer.
Yeah, I'm definitely
non-compete's never mentioned. Working. God, do you remember when the internet had answers?
Long time ago when I could ask Jeeves anything and he would tell me.
Yeah.
I would
Okay,
be
here. There's even a case law here. H&R Block Enterprises versus Roberts. Engaged in a business preparing federal tax return in January 2009. Hired defendants Robert Harrison. God Almighty, it's a whole art. You know what? We need Hawk. Oh, here. I signed the famous H&R Block non-compete. We need a copy of this. We need a copy of it.
Yeah, maybe
That's
I'll
what we need.
plan a stream on this. This is an important topic, and I'll
Anyway,
try to get.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but yes, you should have ethical behavior.
Yeah.
And not use their time to run your own business. So that's the short answer.
Okay, so just to cap this off, if you are going to go this route, like, don't make it obvious what you're doing, at least until we figure this out. So
right.
Mr. Clary, we did this stream last year, this exact stream we're doing now, which is about Illinois. And I do have some things I need to talk about with that, to rant about. But first, I want to go back in time a little bit. Do you recall when we were looking at the sort of the management board, the management team for the Illinois Department of Revenue last year? And there was a name in particular. There was someone we were sort of.
Yeah. What was that?
You don't remember?
No, it was.
I'll give you a hint. It's from a song. Gonna take a lot to take me away from you.
Toto?
What's that song called?
I bless Africa.
Africa, yeah.
Africa. The name is actually Africa. Yeah, okay.
Would you like an update about Africa?
I would love an update. Well, give us the background on it. What was...
Good call. So last year, when I was doing this exact show with Clary last year, because Illinois was being such a bitch, and they still are, and I'll talk about that. But we were curious about who's running that organization, and so we went to the page and we saw the management team, and we couldn't get over that there was an assistant director named Africa.
Wasn't it Africa?
It was Africa. Yeah. And so we were just like, huh. And so when I was putting this together a little bit earlier today, I was like, I'll bet they would like to know what the latest is with Africa. It's been almost exactly a year. So let me show you what it says on the management team page right now.
Okay.
All right. So let me pull this up.
Man, if you know how to share a screen live, I'm impressed.
Okay. Can you see this?
Kind of. All right.
So Africa, this is the top, obviously. Africa went from having a name up here as an assistant director all the way down here. I know it's small, but can you read that?
Yeah. Informal conference administrator.
It says informal conference board administrator.
Okay.
What the fuck is that? Does that sound like an important job to you?
No, this is government. They just make work jobs. I'd say 50% of government jobs are welfare jobs. So, I mean, either Africa got demoted or he or she. Did we ever find out if it's a guy or a gal?
I found out about half an hour ago, and
okay. Well, anyway, she or he either demoted themselves and didn't care, or or he really fucked up and they said, nope, you're not here anymore. You're going to go down to truly blatantly created welfare job program for you.
So when I saw this, I was like, oh, demoted. So I typed in, Africa, Illinois Department of Revenue. Maybe I thought I'd see their LinkedIn profile or something. Yeah. I found a couple of things that I think you and everybody else is going to find pretty interesting. Clary, how much, if you had to guess, what do you think an informal conference board administrator for the Illinois Department of Revenue would make as an annual salary?
Informal conference board. I'm going to guess 93,000.
So the first thing I found was this article from 2020. So we're 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Can you see that?
Earned 100.
So that was 5 years ago.
That was 5 years ago. Okay, but so he was up there.
I found this kind of alarming, and I'm like, what? They're earning that for being useless? Because back in 2020, they were simply what's called a senior public service administrator, whatever that
Right.
is.
Right.
So I was like, all right. And so I got even more curious, again, just within the last hour. And I went to the Illinois Comptroller website where you can look up everybody's salary.
Mm-hmm.
I found Africa. Do you want to guess what Africa is making now, 5 years later?
Well, if he was making that for I thought he was up there. Wasn't he up there?
He was up there, but again, he did get demoted here. I think he was like an acting assistant director or something, and now he's
okay. But I mean, not to defend the guy. I mean, he's overpaid no matter what. But
yeah.
I'm also imagining the union plays a role. That if you reach the senior level, your pay doesn't go down. So if he was assistant director, I'm gonna guess he's at like 150 now.
Pretty good guess, because I did find it, and this is small, so I'll just read it to you. Africa Robinson, as a senior public service administrator in 2023, earned $131,300.
Okay.
And in 2024, he earned $140,500. So you were right, but I'm thinking that's a hell of a pay bump for probably doing absolutely nothing.
That's why I imagine it's union.
Yeah, it has to be.
It's got to be union. I don't think this is scam. I mean, it is scammy, but surprise, Chicago union's a little corrupt. Yeah. But his name's not Africa. It's Africa Robertson.
It says Africa Robinson. It was the only Africa that works for the Department of Revenue in Illinois. Because I took some time. I wanted to make sure I was getting the right one.
I guess it's the same guy. Yeah, sure.
It is. And by the way, this is all public information. I'm not doxing anybody. So yeah, I thought you guys would find that interesting. It kind of demoralized me, because it's like, you know what? You and we have to hustle to make our money. You make your videos. I run my business. You write your books. You do your courses. And we got Africa Robinson, who probably just, doesn't even have to go
color,
to work.
got in with the union. Right. No, but what could you not say that of literally 75% of people at the Department of Revenue? Yeah. I think it's more of a union issue than it would be anything else. But, you guys pay for it. Let me ask you something. Does he live in Chicago? Probably, right?
They don't have an address here, but you know what? He may actually live in Springfield, because that's where the main office is for the Illinois Department of Revenue. So he may be
down by the Capitol.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe. All right. I was going to say, well, it must suck because you got to live in Chicago, but then, good for him. He's making a lot of money. If people are going to vote to overpay government bureaucrats, I hope he gets his, I guess,
So I would never do this, because I've already worked for the government, been there, done that. But man, if I wanted to work for the Illinois Department of Revenue, because they need revenue agents and all that, I could easily get the same salary. So I can understand why some people go into government work.
Oh yeah. No.
And I'm sure you've been hearing about what's been going on since Trump came to power, how they're trying to clear out all these federal government positions with buyouts.
No, they're going to have to. Otherwise, okay. You'll have a lot of inflation if you don't. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I went down a rabbit hole. I went on Reddit. All these federal employees are like outraged, and I'm just
don't read.
What?
They don't go for a hike, man. When are you going back down? When are you going back down to Dallas?
A week from today, Fort Worth.
All right.
Yeah, a week from today.
Focus on that. There you go. And do you get to ride the train?
Oh yeah.
It's such a cool train, man.
Best part of that train that takes you from DFW Airport to right to downtown Fort Worth in about an hour. I sit there. There's a table there. I get my multiple screens, and I just sit there and work for an hour. It is fabulous. I love it.
It's
you should never take an Uber. Yeah, always take a train. So now, finally, the topic, which is about the Illinois Department of Revenue. I got this email just yesterday. This is from somebody you've conversed with, you and I have, and we know. So last year, he started his own practice, and I was sending him all these referrals who were all Illinois-based. But he's not from Illinois. So he sent me this. He goes, "Hey, brother, hope the first official day to the tax season was off to a good start," because Monday was the first official day. The requests are coming in for me like they are to you. He goes, "Anyways, what's up with Illinois? I still don't see them as being open for me to e-file. Is it really usually like this? I wanted to see if maybe I was missing something. Is it normal for Illinois to not have their shit together once tax season officially opens? Clary, would you care to answer that question?
Well, I bet you're still waiting on the Illinois legislature for guidance
Not
on
the
some
legislature.
yeah, you're waiting on guidance. They must have come up with a new tax law?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing, dude.
So this is not, wow.
Nothing.
This is just Department of Illinois.
This is the Illinois Department of Revenue sitting there collecting their $140,000 500 salary with their thumbs up their asses. Why does this bother me? Like, why am I angry?
Because you can't file people's taxes and get your job done.
I can't do it. The clients who are being responsible, I've already done 8 corporate returns, and people are just like, yeah, I just want to pay it. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't file it because the stupid state. I'm like, remember how this happened like last year and the year before? They're doing the exact same shit. And you know, my clients, they're all understanding about it, but they're just like, this morning, they're all just, I got on a call with one of them, just cursing mad about this state.
Did they vote Democrat?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. These would definitely.
I don't know, people. So it could be, you know who I don't have a problem with?
Who?
The Department of South Dakota's revenue. You know why?
They seem to have good customer service when you contacted them about that.
Yeah, we don't have an income tax. We pay a sales tax and it's over, you dumbass. You know who else you don't have problems with?
Texas.
The Texas Department of Revenue. You know a third state you don't have trouble with?
Nevada, Florida,
Wyoming, Tennessee,
Alaska,
Florida.
New Hampshire. I missed one somewhere, but it's there. Washington.
And those are all Republican. Oh,
it's crazy, isn't it? I think it's funny that you spend you divide up your year into like 2 income tax free states. It's so you.
Yeah, no, I like it. I don't, it's not even paying the tax. I just paid my property taxes, right?
Yeah.
I got the bill. I paid it all in one. I mean, you pay taxes, but it's like, how hard do you want it to be? And Illinois apparently wants it to be very, very hard to pay taxes.
I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see this. So this might look familiar to you. I did this last year. My software actually tells me when it's expected that I'll actually be able to, do my job and file the Illinois returns. I mean, look at these dates. They're all in February, dude. And yes, I know we're at the end of January, but it's like, because there is literally zero, and I mean, Clary, zero tax law changes that would, result in any kind of delay. Why do I have to wait until, February 6th, February 15th? Why? Why do I have to wait?
Probably because some incompetent person at the IT department at the Illinois Department of Revenue screwed up their job. That's what I mean. I'm just going to assume typical government worker incompetence, not to mention is the tax code overly complicated in Illinois?
No, they basically take it they take your adjusted gross income from the federal return and you just, it flows in, and then, there's some nuances, but it's not difficult.
So it is a complicated tax code. So it is incompetence at the Department of Illinois or the Revenue Department.
I actually have another, it's definitely that by rule. That's the case in Illinois. There's incompetence. Oh, what's up, Safety Doc? Long time no see. But I think it could be something else. And tell me what you think of this. And I read some statistics about this. Because most people who file taxes in Illinois, believe it or not, they get refunds. So do you think this is them trying to delay having to pay out these refunds as long as they can without people revolting?
Maybe is the state got a financial trouble?
Always. This is
okay.
Next to California, this has to be the brokest state in the whole country.
Yeah, that could be it. What you still got that Vanker guy or big fat trust fund baby? Is he still around?
Pritzker?
Metzger, yes. Metzger still the governor down there?
Pritzker's still that fat ass. Like after the new president was elected, you should have seen what he was saying on Twitter and how people from Illinois were just going after him. I shit you not. Claire, there's a lot of bad governors, in blue states in particular in this country. He's the worst. No exceptions. None.
Even worse than Newsom, huh?
Yes, he is worse than Newsom. He is so bad because he never had to do anything with his life. He grew up.
But he said nice thing. He said free shit. And we not get free shit now? So
this whole, I know you don't watch the news. You don't really follow the news,
No,
right?
no.
He was basically spreading lies like last week and this week because that guy, there was a guy heading ICE, or I forget his name, whoever. Like he was actually in Chicago, and they were going up and getting some people and deporting them all over Chicago the last few days. Pritzker lied, flat out lied, and said that ICE went to a school at the end of last week and started deporting children. That's not what happened.
Didn't happen. All right. Well,
no.
But he offers free shit, Chad. Chad, really, by this time, don't you know the Democrat playbook?
Offer free stuff, get
we
votes.
can do the worst things, sometimes to children, but we offer free shit. So you're still going to vote for us. It's not even the Democrats' fault. It's the people who vote for them, like, but free shit, helping little people. No one cares what they actually do. That's the party that offers free shit. So they're just going to go with it.
I feel like Illinois is a very underrated answer for what is the most poorly run state in the country. Everybody says California or maybe New York, but Illinois needs to be in the top 3 in that list.
People keep moving out of that state. So including yourself, when are you going to move out of there? When are you going to become a resident of Texas or something, man?
That's a whole thing. Have I told you this yet? How this is what Texas does. Because Texas is a good state. It's a well-run state. They don't really trust people who are licensed in other states just transferring those licenses over.
Okay, so you got to go and take some more courses or whatever?
They have a little like a competency test or something. You have to pay all these fees. And, at first I was kind of pissed off about that, but then I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? I don't blame them. Like, who knows where these people are coming from?
Yeah.
And,
okay.
So for now, I have to maintain my Illinois license. And as long as you have an Illinois license, you kind of have to stay an Illinois business. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean I have to be here, but that's just how it is.
Right.
So, but the bottom line is that Illinois is simply making it impossible for me to do my job and everybody else here who's trying to get through. And yeah, I was on Reddit to the Tax Pros board. We were all commiserating about this, but they're actively trying to make it so we can't adequately do our job.
I believe your theory that they are delaying it to help with government finances is plausible. It would not surprise me if they just don't have the money in the accounts. They can't print it off like the feds. They got to go and get it like everyone else. Yep.
And it really stinks because at least so you're lucky with your S corporation. You don't have any state obligations with that. You don't have to pay anything. In Illinois, you do. Such a business friendly state. And the long and short of it is you really shouldn't file the federal S corp return until you can file the Illinois one as well. But they're not going to let me file it for another week or week and a half. So what do I have to do? I have to sit on it. And if I can't complete people's S corp returns, guess what? I can't do their personal returns. It's so infuriating.
Your average bureaucrat at the government does not understand that.
Right.
That 8 things are contingent and cannot be done until this other thing gets done. And I've seen that wherever, working corporate America and all that other stuff. But yeah, it's just what percent of your client base is Illinois though?
It's still about 90%.
Really?
Yeah, because remember, I got niched. Like if you type in CPA, therapist Chicago, I'm like at the top of every list. Yeah. So I got my niche. I have this loose plan to sort of try to build up, my Texas client base, and maybe I can shift, but nobody knows me down there except, Mr. Texas.
Well, you haven't done any advertising, I'd imagine.
Right. So, but until I get a Texas license, it's kind of moot anyway. So
would you recommend that for aspiring entrepreneurs? Like something that you would have done differently is don't become a CPA in Illinois or say Massachusetts or some other place where the government's going to be a pain in the ass to deal with. And so it's a lot easier to deal with, say, a Florida resident or a North Carolina resident because their governments are more competent.
I would recommend that, except you have to remember when I first got started with all this, it was pre-COVID. Until COVID happened, being a fully virtual tax professional wasn't really a thing. Like people would try to do it, but I was still seeing like, 75% of my clients in person. You remember my old office. So
yeah, it was a good office. Yeah.
So to answer your question now is yes, like try to avoid dealing with the complicated or an annoying state. But it wasn't really an option before 2020. So just real quick from All Pro Lemons, do you even need to transfer your license if you don't do audit? You do in Texas because you can't form a Texas LLC. See that you have to tie, if you're providing a professional service, you have to tie that to your license, a PLLC. Texas won't let you do it unless you're licensed in the state of Texas. So my hands are kind of tied with that, but I'm figuring out all that stuff.
What do you got to do to get licensed in Texas if you're already a CPA here?
You have to basically apply for it. And then if your application is approved, and yet they make you pay all kinds of fees, like remember, income tax. So, and there is a competency test from what I understand. I don't know anything about it. It just said that, and then you'll be examined XYZ. So it's not going to be fun. So I'm essentially just kind of putting it off. And you know what I might do?
Well, I was going to say, let's say you become licensed in Texas. That doesn't forfeit your Illinois license, does it?
No.
Okay.
You know what would be, I don't think I'm going to do this, but I did think about it the other day. What if I just knocked out all those EA exams? And then because you could do this as an EA. I could go to Texas and I could be like, well, I can, be tax professional PLLC. Well, you're a CPA from another state. Well, yeah, but I'm also an EA. I can practice anywhere.
Well, dude, you think you could pass the EA without studying?
Come on, like even you.
Like, yeah.
Although after that episode, I did get some emails from EAs that were like, dude, you gave him all the easy questions. You should have given it.
I am aware they're the easy one. I just want to point out, what did I score? Like an 83, an 86 or something?
You did pretty well, but I did cherry pick ones I thought you had a chance of getting right. But to answer, if I was going to try to get the EA, which I don't think I'm going to do, I would study. Like I'd actually try. I wouldn't just be cocky and walk in there.
Yeah, no, you don't want to waste your time.
Yeah. But that's essentially my rant. Like for the umpteenth year in a row, Illinois is just making it impossible for me to effectively do my job.
You know what I think happens is before tax season comes up, it's like December, and Africa is rubbing his hands like, I'm going to get that Chad Elkins.
Africa Robinson.
And he's like, I'm going to get him. I just say, no, don't. We got to wait till February. Why? There's this guy called Chad Elkins, and we got to wait until February. And they'll do a podcast, and they'll feel like I have purpose and meaning.
Yeah.
Like he's almost a Batman villain.
It took a little time to find that Africa because I kept typing in Africa because I thought that's how it would be. But no, luckily there's only one person with the first name of Africa in all of Illinois working for the government.
It's do you think his parents did that to him?
Yes.
Yeah, poor guy.
But hey, if he can do it, if he's the one that chose to be identified, Africa. So yeah. All right. Well, I do feel a little bit better. That had been bottling up in me. But we got some super chats.
Oh boy, I love it when I get your money. I love it when I get your money.
Yeah. Let me see what we got. Actually, before I get to them, I'm going to read you this comment from Torgo. Cappy should have reached a level of contentment by now. He's got a paid-off house, no real debt to speak of. He's self-employed. He has a nice girlfriend who he seemingly has a great relationship with. Aaron Clary is the poster boy for zero world problems. How do you respond to that, Aaron Clary?
I am the poster boy for zero world problems. That's why I wrote it. Because especially after like finishing the house, I was like, oh my God, there's all these other standards of living. Yes. I am frustrated because I would like to go a certain speed, and nearly everybody else I know in my life and everyone I run into, the rest of the world does not go that speed. So if I'm agitated and frustrated, that's probably why I don't think I'll ever not be agitated and frustrated, because it's just, especially now at 50, like Chad, Trump got elected. People are starting to realize, oh, the Democrats aren't all that other shit. Do you remember arguing with people when you were younger of our generation? Like try to explain to them simple shit like you are going to have inflation and this is stupid and we have to work. And we were just called Nazis. I'm looking back at that, and it's like all of you can go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
All of you. Like, it shouldn't take half a century for you guys to realize simple, basic shit like everyone has to work for a living. And no, you can't have free shit for everyone. And you probably shouldn't call people National Socialists because they believe in lowering taxes. And it's just exhausting looking at the American people where I'm like, God, you guys are so dumb and fucking slow. And now they're like, hey, do you know that they're trying to do things with our children? Oh my God. And I'm like, what? Really? So it's time. And then you go out into the real world and deal with just stupid fucking people. So it's like, there's what I could achieve if I just had 20% of me's running around in the population. But no, we got the Department of Illinois postponing their taxes until February. And that's why it's like, Chad, how much could you achieve if we just got rid of stupid people? Right?
Oh my God.
I mean
I would, my everything would have skyrocketed to the moon as far as my trajectory in life if I could have just not had to deal with all that. Honestly.
Yeah, like even something as simple as like your medical procedure where you have to waste all this time getting the billing. That's where the anger and frustration comes in. And and sometimes I won't lie, sometimes it's a little lonely. We're like, am I the only fucking one that sees this? And everybody, oh, chill the fuck out, relax. I hope you drown in a fucking ditch. You know,
you don't debate people, do you? You just, if somebody's coming at you, you don't do it, do you?
No, unless it's like simple and I just somehow twist their own words on them. But I don't bother debating people because I've never won an argument. Now they've never won either, but they just but, and I'm like, you can't debate these people who are too stupid and intellectually dishonest to be empirical. So there's really no reason to debate them. So
I got to tell you very quick about my cousin. My youngest cousin's in her very late 30s, is as lefty as all get out. You know, this is my first cousin. Candidates met her. She's overweight, of course, hopelessly single, always on social media, doing those, you know, talking points that they all do on there.
Whatever it is that day, sure.
Right. And so this morning, she has an easy return. So she sent me her W-2 and a couple other things. I went ahead and did it. You know, it took me 15 minutes. And so then she made I was on the phone with her explaining everything. Sign this. Here's your refund. She made some really irritating comment about what the president is doing to like the federal government. Basically the stuff that you would read.
It's 4 days in and already. Okay.
Yeah. And so me from about, I'll say 15 years ago would have like gotten upset and like, no, you're wrong because blah, 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 blah. And she kept doing this the whole time, like kind of poking at me. So finally I was just like, all right, Lindsay, not a real name. All right, Lindsay, good luck with all that. You have a great day. Your taxes are now filed. Say hi to your mom for me. And then
Yep. It's just like, enjoy being fat. I really just enjoy being miserable. Yeah.
She takes that drug you've done videos on before. The Ozempic. You remember that?
Oh, really? Well, shouldn't she be thin now?
She's a little thinner, but I mean, that girl hasn't done any exercise since grade school.
But she won't go for a run or go to the gym. No. Oh, God, no. Jesus.
Diet and exercise? You kidding me?
You can always tell the Democrats they're always lazy. It's the one trait they got. They're all lazy. They don't want to do any work. I
just don't know how I got cursed with, you know, a family like this.
Dude, everyone's got that kind of family. You know, not everyone's going to be Ward Cleaver.
But it's like all my family is essentially.
Then you ignore them and like, oh, that's nice. Yep, Democrat, social, it's great. Yeah, sure, okay. Hazmat trucker, great avatar. $2. What do now? No debt, good girlfriend, but still am bitter. Wait, you should go hiking. You should get good exercise. You should travel, and you should avoid stupid people. And
but that's hard. That last one's really hard to do.
I think I've managed it. Like I don't really go out that much, and but it's hard. That's what the new book is about. But there's a way to thread that needle, And it really is. There's a whole chapter on defending against people, like keeping them out of your life and choosing people wisely, just like, but it's a very individual journey. You will be by yourself the majority of this time. So just that's what you get to do.
And when do you expect that to be released, or you're not sure yet?
I got 2 editors, so it'd be like a week until the editing is done, and then it's really up to Amazon, which could be another 2 weeks depending on when they approve it. So I got to go through, and I'm going to say 3 weeks, middle of February.
Okay. I'll ask you about your 50th birthday plans another time. Real quick, Torgo, did Cuddle Wookums ever cook for me? She cooked. So Cuddle Wookums cooked for me, and we were together for like 3 years, like 2 times. 2 times. Guess how much the candidate cooked for me, like the very first day?
Oh, she probably cooked you 2 whole meals. I mean, yeah.
Like 3. I'm like, so this is what it's like to have somebody who's not totally retarded when it comes to everything.
No, I got it. Yeah. I got the GF. I gotta say, sweetheart, do you want to go out to eat? Like, you don't have to cook. She's like, oh no, I like cooking. And I'm like, okay. So we it's almost too much where it's like, okay, we could go out if you, oh no, I'll do it. I'm like, okay. And the food is phenomenal. But yeah, sometimes you're just like, I forgot what the inside of a Jimmy John's looks like, he's just what? I haven't been to a McDonald's in years. ET, $5. Hey, Chatting Cappy, can you guys clarify the terms for being able to write off food and beverage purchases while working as an LLC S Corp? Thanks.
You want to try this one?
Okay, well, you can only write off half, correct? Because that's meals and entertainment.
That's the percentage, yeah, 50% of the business.
Right. It has to be. I don't know what the verbiage the IRS would use, but at least tangibly and logically associated with conducting some form of business. So you have to have a client or an employee there while you're doing work, talking about work. Like you're traveling on the company, you're at a conference, and so you wouldn't be at that restaurant otherwise if it wasn't for you having to go to the conference. So there has to be a good business reason why you're incurring that meals and entertainment expense.
So yesterday I went to one of my favorite bars here. It's not the one you've been to. This is a different one. And the purpose was to meet up with one of my friends. We'll call him Mark. Now, Mark and I have hung out at that bar before, but yesterday there was a specific reason we were getting together. He brought me his information. I had my computer and I did his taxes there. Remember, I can't file them, but I did them. And so, yeah, we hung around for a bit. We got some lunch, and yeah, I had a couple of beers after it. I picked up the tab because, I hadn't seen him in forever. And I think he picked it up for me last time we were there. Is that a business expense?
Yeah, you went there to do taxes.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't go there to have fun. I ended up having fun, but I didn't go there for that. So that's an example. Yeah.
My GF is my accountant. And you could see it. I have my business card. I have my personal card. And there's dinners that are on the personal card because you didn't do any tax. There was no reason. But then if she does taxes and she helps out, I was like, okay, yeah, well, let's go. And then you break out the business card. So yeah, but you have to be, you got to be on it. Look, the IRS, if you get audited, you better have a bunch of fucking receipts that are personal. Like, yeah, I didn't write that off. Here's one, and the date and the time and the reason as to why it was a tax deductible.
I was just going to say the trick that I do. Here's a little tip. It's a bookkeeping tip. So yesterday, I put the expense, in my spreadsheet, and I said, met with Mark to prepare his 1040 for 2024. If I'm going to deduct a meal, I always give a specific reason as to why I'm deducting it, just as a line item in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, no, I write edit, accounting, tax, whatever reason. Yeah, no, that's so. I don't know. I mean, is there actual verbiage in the IRS that explains it?
They call it ordinary and necessary, which it is if you're meeting up with somebody and to do work, or even networking counts. Now, you cannot do what some therapist tried to do this morning when I was doing her taxes. She had all of these meals expenses. Like, what is this? And she goes, oh, I had to have some late sessions a few nights, so I ordered DoorDash. I'm like, that is not a business expense. And then she argued with me. It's like, look, If you
Did
want to
she
get in
vote
trouble,
Democrat?
all of them voted Democrat, Claire.
But they don't want to pay taxes. I'm
Yeah.
confused.
Funny how that works.
Chase Robideau, $2, raking in the billable hours. Go busy season.
Cheers, dude. This is your second one, isn't it, Chase? Because I remember last year.
I'm like seeing that where the number, the ranks of accountants are swelling.
Yes.
Like since you started your podcast, you got some people becoming accountants and open up their own shops. This is great.
I get more and more emails like the one I showed you yesterday where people are like, hey, thanks to listening to you and Aaron Clary, I've decided to take the plunge. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Did you know, Mad, 2 Canadian people at my gym stink and don't wipe? Can I write it off? No, not unless you're like selling, desanitizer, but no, you would not be able to write that off.
I don't know how I'd fit that into an ordinary and necessary.
Yeah, Chad, he can't write it off, but you know what he can do?
What's that?
He can wipe it off. Okay.
Whoa.
Hey. Christoph Anon, $2. Wyoming suffrage in 1869. Statehood voters needed. Yep. That was the first state because they wanted to get laid.
Oh, what's up, Parker?
Parker in the chat.
Parker in the house.
Alex Patino, a truck driving Latino agent in the field. Chad, when are you going to finally leave Chicago? It reminds me of a dysfunctional relationship where you can't just let it go.
So our dentist friend, we were talking about that. I saw him last week. I hadn't seen him in forever. And we were discussing this. And I was asking him, I'm like, dude, you hate it here even more than, I do. Why don't you just retire and get the hell out of here? And he just goes like this. And he's just like, I'm stuck here, man. Getting divorced is really expensive. And I have to keep my practice open just so I can build up some retirement. Because that just, crushed.
Don't get married. Yeah. Just don't fucking.
But Alex, to answer your question, as I was talking about earlier with the license, I pretty much am out of here. It's just I'm here on paper and I still have an apartment here. The candidate does like to come up here when it's warm and go shopping, Michigan Avenue and all that. So this is my office. My apartment is my office.
God, and in more ways than one. I mean, how often do you even sleep there now?
Not a lot.
Yeah, no, it really almost is purely a business thing. Christoph Anon, $2. Cease and desist is just a threat. Get a lawyer. It's not gonna be worth getting a lawyer. It's just gonna be worth like setting up a shop elsewhere, or file a Wyoming LLC and be gone. Yeah.
Okay, be careful when you read this one when you see who
it
is.
Ray John, do you?
No. Izuk, yeah,
I don't know. He's trying to make us say something, so I'm not going to say it.
Exactly.
But thanks for the $2 anyway, Ray John.
Canadian. I'm going to read this real quick from Procrastination. Yeah, federal workers are claiming resistance and saying we're not going to quit. And I'm thinking, okay, so you'll actually have to do your job for once. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what it was. Oh, he spelled it wrong. Izuk.
Yeah.
Izuk. That doesn't, no.
You almost got us, Ray John. At least you didn't ask us to look up Leilani Lay.
Bob, $5. I'm still waiting for my refund from last year. I called the IRS and they told me to wait 60 days. F the IRS. It's been almost a year.
Yeah, they've been sending out these letters lately that says, hey, we got your request. We just need more time to process it. So I hate to tell you this, Bob, but in 60 days, you're going to get another letter that's going to ask they don't ask you for more time. They just say, well, we need more time. It's funny how when they want our money, we got to give it immediately.
Oh, yeah.
When we need them to do something. Oh, just take your time. That is all we got, man. I do feel better getting some of this off my chest. Man, I love these therapy sessions during tax season.
I'm glad. I should charge you. I'll just take half your super chats.
You can have them. Is there anything we haven't promoted yet? Or is there anything you want?
Is there anything to promote? I mean, really, what is there to promote? There's nothing to promote. That would make us grifters and money grubbing whores, Chad.
It would.
But I tell you, if I was to create something, Chad, if you were to create a product, what would you create?
I would create this course. It doesn't necessarily teach you how to do accounting. It doesn't say, this is a debit, this is a credit.
Does it do that at all?
No, it doesn't. What it really does is tell you what your options are if you choose to go into the field. And, if I was interested going into this particular industry, I would want to know if it meant I had to go back to college. Do I have to get a degree? Do I need certifications?
I don't want to do that. Is there a way, do you think, to avoid that?
Believe it or not, there's a way where you don't have to do anything except, read up on some study material, maybe pass a couple of courses, and get a little experience. Yeah.
Boy. Mm-hmm. So if you were to put together a course, that'd be the course.
Yeah, I think that'd be one that I think could help people. And that's the feedback I get.
What would you title the course? Because it sounds like a great career in accounting. It sounds like almost maybe the best career in the world of accounting. What would you title it? Did we lose him?
The world's greatest accounting career!
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Wow, that hurt.
Yeah. Yes, I too would name it the world's greatest accounting career. You know where I would host it?
Where?
On Teachable. And I bet you if you put a link down below, it'd be the exact same link to the exact same course I would design and have it available to the public.
There is a link in the description. Now, we should be honest and say it's an affiliate link. We got a couple sales last week, by the way. From last
you got some sales too?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So it is an affiliate link, which means I don't get all of my money. Some of my money goes to Chad because it's his affiliate. So if you want to piss me off while also getting a career in accounting, giving 25% of my money to Chad instead, you could go and use the link below and take the course, The World's Greatest Accounting Career. And joking aside, avoid yourself how much did your MBA cost you?
Oh my God. If you include living expenses and tuition, plus the opportunity. So that's just
opportunity costs.
Opportunity costs made that even worse. Yeah.
How much?
100,000 monetarily without the opportunity cost.
There you go. Yeah. And this is a $150 course. And you're going to incur some book materials and all that. But man, you do not have to go to college.
No. I still get that question. It's odd. It's like, no, you don't have to. Take this course. You want to get into the field.
There's people still claiming there isn't an accounting shortage.
God, which is so insane because I've even been seeing mainstream media articles that are basically preaching, there's a shortage. Like they're on board with this now. So maybe it's fake. No, I don't know. But well, Mr. Clare, I really appreciate it. I know I told you about this just earlier today, so I appreciate the flexibility about coming on.
No problem.
Anything else you want to hawk, or are we good?
The book, Zero World Problems, that'll be coming up 2-3 weeks. So if you're interested in I don't want the money, what should I work for in life? Bam, there you go. That will be available.
All righty. Well, back to work for me, but I would love to know when you guys want to hang out.
When should we hang out?
Soon.